Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Selling Gods video. In today's video, I want to talk about the dungeons that you should be prioritizing in Season 1. This is something that I've been doing every single season since I started playing Dragonheir, maybe Season 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Now that we had the Reborn and we have the relaunch, we had some changes happening in the dungeons and what they drop, right? It's not the same as it used to be. Used to be damage gears over here, defensive gear over here, and then it would be support gear on this one. Well, now they changed. You get weapons, helmets, chest plates, gloves, so you know it's a bit different. So just want to make this video for those of you that maybe restart playing or somebody starts playing, you know, they just now for the first time Dragonheir. This should hopefully help you because you need to know what dungeons to prioritize first. So we're going to be starting actually with the basics. We're going to jump over to the equipment ones later, but if we go over to the growth one, you're going to see that you have Goblin Slayer, the talent one for Wildfire, Resplendence, and Permafrost, right? These are kind of the first ones that you kind of unlock, but the number one that you unlock and the number one most important dungeon to push first to the highest stage to get complete is going to be your Goblin Lair. Right, because the Goblin Lair is the one that right now it just gives me gold because I have my level at the max. The way that it works, right? If you're somebody that's playing new, there's a resonance level. All of your heroes will be the same resonance, so you only level up this up, right? You level it up to 10, 20, 30. All of your heroes will be at the same level. Once you hit 100 with this one, that's it. You're pretty much done with Goblin, unless you feel like you want some more gold. But honestly, once you get to this point, you should be farming the other dungeons. You're not going to need gold from this, but still, number one is Goblin Lairs, because obviously the higher level you are, the more stats you have, and obviously the more gear slots unlock, right? Because it's you have this locked first, the bottom ones, then you have the positive rune, negative rune, the artifacts, everything's locked up until level up higher. So number one priority is, and still is going to remain, going to be the Goblin Lair. Once you're done with that, you're slowly going to start transitioning into prioritizing the equipment ones. You're going to be doing the talent ones in between, or when, you know, the quests ask. Talent ones, just push to 18s whenever you see that you can, but don't go too crazy on it. From my point of view, the talents are extremely important. They bring some really powerful things, right? Some survivability, some things like that, but they're not going to be your number one priority. If you prioritize the equipment dungeons first, once you start getting some good equipment, these ones, the talent ones, are going to become so much easier to get to 18 that you're not going to have any issue on it. Now, let's move over to number 2. So, number 2, we have the equipment ones, right? We have Grave of Venom that you see behind me, Grave of Curse, Grave of Rot, Heretical Ruins, Ancient Battlefield, and then there's going to be the Pillar of Trial. I'm not going to include the Pillar of Trials because this is different. This is obviously you're going to try your best to get to stages 12, push to the highest, and once you get to stage 12, farm over there. But you come over here and like, okay, which ones should I farm first? Because you got all of these 5 dungeons, and you're going to think, okay, which one's going to give me the biggest benefit? Well, from my point of view, the second option, the second one that you should be prioritizing to get to as high stage as possible, at least stages 15, is going to be the Grave of Curse. Now, you might be wondering why I'm saying this, because in previous seasons, I used to say Grave of Venom was important. Like I mentioned, Grave of Venom used to be the area where you would farm your damage pieces of gear, right? But now they changed it, like I mentioned. It's not damage gear goes in Grave of Venom. No, they're everywhere. So Grave of Venom falls towards the end, from my point of view. So Grave of Curse is number 2 most important for my point of view, because at least from stage 15, right? You want to get at least to stage 15, and then at the same time, it's actually the easiest with how many free champions we get in order to deal with this, right? Between Vinyara, Tauren, and Urion, you're pretty much going to easily be able to start farming at least stage 15, where you start dropping, as you can see, mythic gear. That's going to be really important because the pieces of mythic gear are going to be game-changing, right? We have Strike the Unprepared. That's going to give you more damage against, you know, when you do damage against targets with defense penalty, you're going to do 30% more damage. That is huge. Now, the same thing is going to be, you know, between Grave of Curse and Grave of Rot is going to be the same thing. They're kind of like 2 and 3 is going to be Grave of Rot. But the reason why I say Grave of Curse is first, like number 2 priority, again, from my point of view, is because it's easier to do than the Grave of Wrath. Not only do you have the Strike the Unprepared, then you have the Imposing Presence. Again, more damage, you have max HP. Then this one, Mark of Austerity, more damage. You kind of get the gist. If you have the derivative damage, more damage over here. Even these ones, right, gives you lifesteal. This one, if you land debuffs, you heal. These can be so powerful, even if they don't have the perfect stats or substats that you need. These can be so powerful and game-changing that you 100% want to try and get some of these pieces for your heroes so that you can try and push the other ones. Now, the same principle, based on the same principle, same thing is going to be happening with Grave of Wrath, because Grave of Wrath has the same mythic pieces of gear, so pretty much you can get stuff like Strike the Unprepared and all of the other 7 ones. You can get them as a glove or as a chestplate. So it kind of allows you to choose between whatever you want to build for your heroes. But it doesn't drop only that, it obviously drops all of the other pieces of gear. So based on that principle, same thing from Grave of Curse and Grave of Wrath. The reason why they're so good is because you have the bottom ones that you're going to want to farm more often. What I mean by bottom ones, chest plates and gloves, you're going to be trying to farm more of that because they have random main stats. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say I get a chest plate in the, I don't know, let's not look at mythic one. Let's look at normal one. Let's say I get a chest plate in the Executioner. This is a damage piece, right? And you're going to get flat HP. That's going to be useless for you, right? That's going to be useless for you because, well, you want it to be attack percent or worst case scenario, flat attack or maybe HP percent, but no, you just want this to be attack percent. So this is the one that you're going to be farming more and more in order to get the right pieces. Same principle for gloves, right? For gloves, you're going to want to try and get crit rate, crit damage, HP percent, defense percent, or attack bonus. If you get flat HP, flat attack, flat defense, most of the time they're going to be useless. Early on, you might use them just to complete the sets, but you're going to want to be farming this more and more till you get the right substats. That's why these are number 2 and 3. And then from, based on the same argument, that's why number 4 is going to be Grave of Venom, because pieces of gear from the Grave of Venom, again, they're going to have some really cool mythic pieces of gear. But then when we're talking about the weapon or the helmet, they have the same main stat, right? This is not going to be like, oh, I got flash, I'm going to throw it away. No. Weapons have the same main stats. Obviously, even if you have, unless you have all 4 big crap substats, if you have 1-2 good substats, you're still going to keep it. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get pieces of gear, at least from the legendary ones, from Grave of Venom, than it is from the other ones. So that's why this one's kind of like not as important as the other ones, again, from my point of view. Now, again, in the Grave of Venom, why it's number 4? Because some of these pieces of mythic gear are so game-changing, it's insane. Like, this one, Chaos Symbiosis, if you have more heroes of the same school, you're going to get more attacks. So, for example, if you have 3 wild people, if somebody wears this, they get either 12 or 18% more attack. I have to double check with them if it counts same hero or not, but still, you get a ton more attack. This one's going to be huge for most boss fights. Like, apart from Arena, this is huge because you're going to get 16% more damage when you face targets with higher max HP than you. This one's going to be good for your debuffers. If they have, you're going to give them lots of accuracy. They're going to gain more attack. If you can pair that with the pipe organ as well, it's going to be really cool. Then this one's going to be huge for your tanks. As it allows them to stay alive in situations where they might die. So, for example, Urian, you will always want to try and have either a weapon or a helmet of Mona Lisa's Teardrop. Then we look at Skyco. This is going to be huge, right? Grants when the wearer grants shield, remove a debuff. This is going to be amazing for your shield heroes. When we're talking about the Temporal Vortex, stages 3 and 4, when he starts putting defense penalty, you put this on Andolphus, you're not going to need a cleanser. And then this last one, honestly, I don't think I've used it yet, and I don't think I'm going to ever use it. But that's why this is number 4. And then, honestly, number 5 and 6 is going to be between Heretical Ruins and Ancient Battlefield. But from my point of view, it's going to be, they're both really tough. As you can see, I barely got to 12 on Heretical Ruins. I've now pushed my Ancient Battlefield more, but I think the first priority would normally be the Ancient Battlefield, because this is really important to try and start dropping negative runes that can give you accuracy as a substat. As you get higher stages to fight, you're going to need more and more accuracy. And without having accuracy as a negative rune, you're going to have to put accuracy on the chest plate, and that's going to make, your people be squishier, which means they have a higher chance to die. So I feel like number 5 as priority for dungeons is going to be Ancient Battlefield, and then number 6 is going to be Heretical Ruins. Obviously, between these two, you're going to be trying to farm the ones that you can beat, right? I would only suggest, though, only farm this once you get to at least stage 7, right? You don't want to farm lower levels, because by the time you start, you open this and you start pushing this, you should have so much other gear from the other ones, you should have such higher levels that you're gonna start straight up getting legendary positive runes. You do not want to waste your gold on epic ones, right? So if you can get to stage 7, 8, or maybe even 9, right? Obviously 10 would be cool, because 10 just straight up drops 2 pieces every time, but at least from stage 7 is really important to start farming, or stage 10 when you start dropping 2. But that's pretty much, I think, all the dungeons. The adventure ones are just, Famiander doing it at the right time and whatnot. I don't think there's anything else that I missed. So from my point of view, that's what you should be prioritizing for dungeons. Number 1 is always going to be Goblin. Once you hit level 100 Resonance, doesn't matter. Number 2, Grave of Curse. Number 3, Grave of Rot. Number 4 is going to be the Grave of Venom. Number 5, Ancient Battlefield. 6, Heretical Ruins. And then obviously in between, squeeze the talent farming, because they can be really important. But I think this pretty much covers everything that I wanted to do for today's video. If this video was helpful, let me know in the comments down below, right? Like the video as well. Also, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next. Don't forget you can use the code OddOne to support me as a content creator. And I guess I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.